Hey kids, we're going to draw a beach scene today. I'm going to start off with some islands, just curved in from the side. Just changing the color here so you can see better. Do 2 lines curving inwards on each island. These are going to be the trunks of the palm trees. And I'm just going to erase in the center there to get rid of the hill, the island in the background, so that it looks like the trees in front. Now we're going to do 4 big curves out for the tops of the palm leaves. Do that on the other side as well. Now these trees look like they're leaning in towards each other. Now I'm going to do a loose sketch line to create the illusion of palm leaves. So loose kind of jagged line on all 4. And I'm just going to fill those 2 together, or put those lines together to meet. Draw some coconuts. Draw the same textures on the other side of the palm. Again, that jagged line underneath. Now some angled lines going in one direction, and then crossing them over with the different angled lines to create the texture of the palm trees. Doing the same to my other palm tree. Now I'm going to create the horizon line. That's where the invisible line where it makes sky and the land meet, or sky and water. And notice I lifted up my pencil to go in behind my trees to create a sense of space. Now I'm creating the texture in the water, the waves. And I want to draw a big sun that looks like it's sitting on that horizon. And I might just need to adjust my lines here a little bit. Yeah, I'm just going to erase that. Just adjust there. There we go. And draw a little crab here. Four little legs and his little pinchers. Good. I think I'm going to draw a bucket over here. Oh, I'm going to fix that. Bucket with a handle and a little shovel. And I can fix the details of it later when we add some color, because we might need to redefine those lines. Okay. And I think I'm going to put a dolphin tail sticking out of the water here. And you can put whatever details you want in. Maybe you want a mermaid swimming in the water, or an octopus poking his head out, and a tentacle, his tentacles, or whatever details that you think of when you think of beach day. Now I've picked a nice bright green to start create the texture of the leaves. And I'm going to get a darker green to add some shading, because when you use a couple different shades, it makes your artwork that much better, more pleasing to look at, and helps to create shading. And shading helps it makes it look three-dimensional, even though we're drawing on a flat surface. That's where artists become magicians, because they create the illusion of space. So I'm going to do that bright green again, and notice how I'm coloring in. I'm not just coloring in a random direction. I'm using the lines that I drew as my guidelines, my sketch, to color in the palm leaves. Also, if I use loose lines to color in for the palm leaves, it gives again, that feeling of the texture of palm leaves. And that's good to remember for anything that you color. So I'm just going to do that darker green on top again over here. I'm going to pick up that brighter green and go into there. I'm going to pick a brown here for the tree trunk. Oops. I'm just going to choose a different brush. Oops. There we go. And I'm kind of filling in the sections with the diamonds that are created from the texture. And now I'm kind of shading it all in all together, kind of going section by section. Because I think I'm going to go a little darker on the edge just to add a little bit of shading. I'm going to take that color onto the the coconuts and go darker. And I'm coloring in the shape of that oval. Then I'm going to take a lighter brown to add to the darker brown. And again, I'm going to leave a little bit of the white as a highlight, and that helps them makes them look three-dimensional as well. So now let's find a sand color. Oh, I need a little bit bigger brush, a little more flowy. There we go. Fill in that sand. And I'm not going to worry too much if I go over top of the lines of my details of my bucket and shovel, because I can go back into there and redefine them after, re-outline them if they need to be. And I'm going to use color later to color them in. So you might want to go ahead and color them in first, but that's up to you. Just filling it in. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Going around the crab. Now you can take your time with this. I'm kind of working very fast right now, but you take your time. You can pause the video, come back to parts. That's the beauty about having a video to work from. Now I think I want to get a bit darker shade of the sandy brown to add some shading to that sand. Yeah, all along the outside of that island. Put some, let it blend in with the other color, the other shade of sand. I didn't do it here, but maybe you could add some dots to create some texture of sand, like tiny little dots, especially if you're using marker. Marker is a really good way to like create that texture. Put some shadows underneath where the sand toys are. Same with under my little Mr. Crab there. Now I'm going to start to dive into the water. So again, I'm going to color in the way, the direction, using the direction of the lines of the water. Filling it in. But I'm pressing harder for areas that I want darker. And I'm also going to start to add some other, use some other tools to create some other textures. Oh, that's too thick. Nope. Not quite what I wanted. There we go. I'm going to work with this for now. I might end up blending it a little bit later on. And if you're using paint, you can blend easily. Or chalk pastel or pastel, you can use any medium, which means any material, to create this artwork. I highly suggest you start with pencil first, though. So now I'm going to blend that out a little bit. There's a blending tool on this digital program that I'm using. That's a nice thing. I can blend super easily with the blender. But if you're using chalk, you can blend with your finger. Or even oil pastel, you can be using two colors beside each other and they blend well together. I want to bring some of those textures back into the water that I got rid of because it was kind of nice to show those waves. And I'm going darker against the edge of the islands because that again helps to create the illusion of space on your page. So now I'm going to go into the nice bright orangish, reddish orange to start to fill in my sun. And that warm orange, orange is a warm color, so is yellow. Again, set against that cool blue water, really helps both colors stand and pop out. Now you notice my other tree isn't finished, but for sake of time, I'm going to just continue working. But again, you can finish it off by doing the same thing that we did to the other tree. Now I just picked a lighter yellow, or yellow-orange. So it's yellow that's a little warmer as well because it's got the orange in it. And go out to the edge. And I'm going to get rid of those lines that I used to define the edge of the sun because I want it to just be a little bit softer. So I'll just erase those. And I think I'm going to get some even deeper red-orange in there to get a nice 3 shades. See how that creates such a nice effect when you have 2 or more shades. You can add like that pizzazz and pop to your artwork. So now I'm just going to add the rays. I want to fill up that white space in the background with the rays of the sun beaming out to the edge of the page. As I just adjust my tools here, there we go. See, I'm using like a flick of my hand to get that feeling of the rays bursting out from the sun. There we go. Just filling it in a little bit more. I'm going to pick that darker shade to fill in some more. Now I'm picking some more shades from that sun. That's what I'm doing there on the digital app, is I can pick the colors that I used already, which is a cool feature. This app that I'm using is Autodesk Sketchbook, and some of you have had a chance to try it in class. Or if you're just watching this and you're not one of my students, that's okay too. Maybe you've had a chance to try some digital drawing apps. They're pretty cool. I did some learning myself this year with learning how to work digitally. And it's a lot of fun. Now, I notice my trees aren't standing out much, so I'm going to darken a little bit. Add some solid areas of color on the top of those palms, the palm leaves. There we go. And I'm going to get some red for the little crab here. Again, I'm not worrying too much of crazy little details. I mean, I've put some little details on there, but sometimes it's just to give the impression of something. Again, here's a nice pop of color, nice blue for the bucket. Again, a cool color against that warm brown sand. And nice bright pink for that shovel. Now I'm just going to try to find, I want to look for a gray here, a blue gray for that dolphin's tail. So I'm going to color in the direction of the shape of the tail. And a bit shade darker to add a second shade in there. And I'm just going to take my black again and outline some of the areas that might have been lost from coloring. So you can do that with your artwork as well, as take a darker color or even black and do a little bit of outline if you've lost some of your lines. Just helps for things to pop out again. I want to outline the islands. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but this scene was inspired by a student's suggestion that we draw something inspired by this warm weather. So thank you for that. It was such a great idea because it does feel like summer out there today. Don't forget to fill in that tree I'm going to go further and even add some more shades of blue into my water because I want to just make it even more dynamic. Picking a darker blue. So when you're near the end of coloring, and even though I haven't finished in my other tree, but you will, I like to look at my artwork and see where can I add an extra oomph or pizzazz. So I want you to have fun with this. Get creative. Experiment with color. I put the reflection of the sun into the water there, which I forgot to talk about while I was doing it. And yeah, it